All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Are we doing a roll call?
Got anybody here recording it?
It's being recorded.
Just that?
Roll.
Okay. Okay.
So we've got Chris Moyer,
Here.
Tillman Stevens,
Here.
Dina Ortega. Here. Mike Rackler,
Here.
Corey Cole. Absent, Dusty Nusser, absent, and Jody Diaz, myself here. Okay, we'll go to the minutes of the previous meeting. December 4th.
Motion approved. Second.
Okay, move on to action items. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll vote on the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the action items. Election of officers. Guess we're re-electing a chair and co-chair.
It's quick. I think you have to just leave them the way they are.
I guess we have a secretary though, right?
No, we don't have secretary.
Previously, that is on the action item, so.
You want a
I don't know
motion?
if you're good with staying where you're at, I'm okay with staying where I'm at.
Darn, we just about to make Dusty something.
Mr. Secretary.
Alright, so late.
Going does
At least it's recorded. You can go back and refer.
Okay, so we'll say Dusty Nusser is here.
Yes, sorry.
And is there a motion for the chair and co-chair to remain the same?
So move.
Second. All in
Sorry?
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now do we have a nomination for secretary?
I only see one person in one book, so I'm gonna recommend Dean. Second.
Alright.
Second.
Don't- Second.
Oh,
Oh,
nothing too.
Gotcha, well, you hit it.
we have a motion and a second for Dina for secretary. All those in favor?
Right?
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, we'll move along to youth sports update, TJ.
All right, well, welcome back. Good to see everybody again. We scheduled this meeting 3 months right on the dot for perfect timing, like we had said last one. We just wrapped up basketball season. Basketball went very smooth, a couple of hiccups here and there, but that's expected. That's stuff to build on. So we're already, I've already reached out to coaches about some things that I'd like to see that we could improve on next year. So excited that we had a good season. I had a great group of coaches. A couple of you were them. It was a fun season. Another special thanks to all my coordinators who really putting out fires when they needed to, but more than anything, they kept things moving along, kept things smooth, and so made my job a lot easier. Our final number was 338 registrations from 4 years old all the way up till 6th grade. So across 7 divisions, we ended up having 40 total teams. So it was a very, very good turnout. Currently, we are finalizing the preseason stuff for spring soccer. We had 186 registrations, surpassing our number from the fall as expected by about 20. Across the 4 divisions, we are currently sitting at 18 teams. The wait list for the 7th and 8th grade, which I did attempt to try to hold some sort of season for them, closes tomorrow. Numbers are still extremely low to actually put something kind of beneficial on for them. We'll get the kind of final word with my coordinator tonight and make a final decision as it goes. We are also without volunteers for that division.
What age did you say?
7th and 8th grade. Season's going to begin March 28th. It's going to wrap up early May. Try to catch as good of weather as we can, but very excited for spring soccer to go. Upcoming sports, very excited. We've talked about this a few times in the past few meetings. I finally got to sit down with Mr. Nesser up there, Mr. Ontiveros, Mrs. Rowley about doing a spring flag football league, a summer basketball league, making sure that I had access to facilities like I have been for the past 6 months. The excitement from all three of them was very, very promising. They said, hey, you keep kids going, keep them busy. We're all for it. Miss Rowley loved the idea of summer basketball. Kids sitting at home all day with not a whole lot to do, but then they have something to look forward to. So spring flag football will open registration next month. The season will begin middle of May. Summer basketball registration is going to open in May. We'll begin the season early July. These will be very quick and abbreviated seasons. We're not going to have full length like fall football, fall flag football, and then winter basketball. These are intended to, again, be very fundamental based, maybe a little light on the competition side, but really something for these kiddos to do. That way they're not having to travel to Lubbock, Amarillo, Clovis for the spring and summer to keep sports going. Let's try to keep the kids around here as much as we can. For those ones that we can help and assemble. My final update that we have talked about that I was asked to have prepared is I started the research and looking into fall tackle football. We've sent our helmets off for recertification, so whatever equipment we do get back, we will have some access for some helmets to do that. I've spoken with the director of the Palmer County Youth Football League, which I have desired to outsource our tackle football here in Portales to go participate in their league. He explained kind of how it works, fee by player, situation, what the season looks like, process rules, bunch of really different things. And I really do enjoy and I like what he has because there's a lot of established rules in place, procedures. It's, certified referees. There's a lot to like about it. So the idea would be that participants would register through Portales Youth Sports with me. I would set up a registration fee. They would sign up. Their fees would cover helmet rental, shoulder pad rental, a team jersey, and then the player fee that Palmer County would charge us. So once we get the payments in, I would pay the Palmer County director per player that we are sending over. They do 3rd and 4th grade division and a 5th and 6th grade division. So I would take care of that for the parents. That way them and the coaches don't have to worry about it, but we'll make sure that they're taken care of once they get over there. My next job on that would be put together a roster for them. They're very specific that they would accept a Portales team with kids from Portales schools, Elida, Dora, Floyd, the county schools. But what they would try to limit is kids from a Clovis school or something, a Melrose school coming to play in Portales. They would like to try to keep it regionalized like they do currently. From that on, we establish a contact with myself and then whatever head coaches are selected for those 2 teams or 3 teams or 4 teams, however many we end up with. I would hold some sort of interview process, a sit-down meeting with potential head coaches to make sure that we are sending our kids with guys that know what they're doing, know what the proper form of safety, learning the game in a proper way, and that will really hold themselves to a higher standard when they're over there representing our town and our sports program. The director holds weigh-ins and games on their schedule. It's a 6-game schedule plus a postseason tournament, so you're looking at somewhere around 7 or 8 games. But everything else will be handled out there. Now, the process is up for debate, and I'll get into that here in just a second because there are some things that I would like to bring to the board. I would love opinions. There's some things that I just envision not necessarily causing issue, but that would be some sort of a conversation. So I would like to know what everybody thinks about how we do that. The reasons to outsource tackle football to this Palmer County Youth League. My first year out here when I was involved in youth sports, I remember that the 5th and 6th grade division had 6 teams and they had 20 kids per team. So there was no double headers on Saturdays. There was plenty of bench in case kids got hurt, kids got sick, kids couldn't make it, whatever it may be. It was a full length roster, and that's what you want in a tackle football game. My first year being a little more involved from a scheduling and a working purpose with Jody, we had 16, 17 kids. So the numbers went down a little bit, but nothing severely. Every single year since then, the numbers have gone down. And from what I was told, that in 2024, the 5th and 6th grade division had 3 teams of 15 kids. The biggest things that are kind of wrong with that is, one, now you're forcing kids to play 2 games a day on a Saturday to make sure that everybody gets a chance to play. The second thing that comes with that you're really inviting issue in is now you only have 4 kids on the bench. One kid gets hurt, you're down 3, and it's 11 men on the field, 11 kids on the field. You need all the bench you can get, because I mean it's better for the kids that way. The other thing is I firmly believe you need at least 4 or 5 days in between gameplay. You know, it's not smart to be playing them 2 games in a day, or 2 or 3 days apart. Their bodies need to learn to rest, to recuperate before they go, because football is very physically specific. It is intended to be physical. The opportunity, biggest thing about this, and let me preface this by saying, if kids are not interested in tackle football, they're not trying to go to the Palmer County League and go play in Farwell every other Saturday or every Saturday, I will still hold flag football here in town for those that are interested. So there is an alternative. It's not an all or nothing. There will be an alternative offer. The opportunity to make sure that we are playing 11-man football, especially in Farwell, is we play 11-man football starting in junior high here at Portales, junior high all the way up. And if you're trying to base it year after year, where okay, we have enough to run 6-on-6 or 7-on-7, or now we have to go back to 6-on-6, you lack continuity, you lack consistency, and that's something that I want to avoid while running this program. The other thing that it does is it takes learning the proper way out of for certain kids. Not everybody's a quarterback, not everybody's a wide receiver. You have kids that are just bigger that are going to play on the line, and the line is a very important position in football. When you move it down to 7-on-7, you're kind of taking their opportunity away and devaluing what they can bring to the table in football. And I know we have some schools that do 6-man and in the local area, but that's high school ball. There's a different game to it. So I just think that that's an opportunity that we're missing out on. And again, if we stick to this, then it's 11-man football every single year. It's not changing. It's what's expected. Now we go play competition outside of town, and we're getting our kids a chance to play together earlier. I was involved in coaching tackle football for years, where you have some coaches causing a divide because they don't get along with the guy on the other side. And now it makes it harder on these kids to learn to play together in 7th, 8th grade and all the way up. If they start doing this from 3rd grade, you kind of have a system established. They're all being taught the same thing. They're all learning the same thing, which I think would translate into our junior high and our high school teams becoming way more competitive. We have a good program in place, but I think if we start a little bit earlier and do that, it could be a little bit better. The organization itself, you have certified officials, you have 6 teams in those leagues to where they're not playing the same 1 or 2 teams consistently week after week. It gives them an opportunity to play kids from Bovina, from Farwell, Clovis, from Texaco. It's something that would be so beneficial for the kids. The facilities usage, that cuts down on some costs where we got to keep striping a field or however it may be. But this would just be something that all around for coaches and players, it'd be so much more beneficial than trying to do anything here in town, in my opinion.
How many teams have they had in the past few years in those age divisions?
So as far as being on site, I know the informational stuff. So Mr. Nestor, I don't really have that answer. However, I have brought somebody who was involved in our tackle football league for many, many years. from when I mentioned those years earlier, and then he just participated in last year, so he'd be able to answer. Luke, if you wouldn't mind answering some questions.
They carried 6 teams in 3rd and 4th grade, and there's 7 teams, and
Our new secretary will probably appreciate that.
they carried 6 teams in 3rd and 4th grade, and I think there were 7 teams in 5th and 6th grade division.
Pretty good.
And yeah, no, it was a good league all around. The quality of the game was good. You got the certified official, and that's that brings a lot to the quality of it. Dimmitt, Hereford, Breonna, Texaco. I was with Clovis, and then I think there was 2 Bovina teams actually. But
Bovina had 2. Wow.
yeah, those coach that you know how it is.
Okay.
One of the parents didn't agree with the way the coach
Yeah.
and what ended up is both teams were
Okay.
yeah. But anyway,
So does Clovis currently have tackle football or no?
No.
No.
They didn't even have a flag, did
No.
they?
they are Little Ballers Inc. is their
Okay.
new startup. They plan on having a league, and it's flag football, but it's not tackle, of course. But they're gonna have a spring league in May.
That's not associated with the schools, right? Because I know they've started doing some things within the schools.
Right.
So that part of it's not associated with it.
No,
Okay.
it's a private.
Separate thing.
And it's run by Sammy Herrera, and Sammy's been running it and been involved in it for over 20 years. So I mean, it's been consistent since back then.
And if we can have enough, we'd be able to practice here, so they're not having to go
That's
for travel purposes and stuff. Huh?
That's exactly right. I think that would be the benefit of you having your own teams here and sending them over there to play, is they
Right.
get to practice right here.
Right.
And that's, of course, being associated with the Clovis team. I don't mind the drive to Clovis. It's not a
Right.
big deal to me.
Right.
So we practice 2-3 days a week in Clovis, and then we go play our games over in Farwell. Nice facility on turf.
Right.
And it was ran really, there was zero tolerance. I had coaches on my squad that got,
Mhm.
and they deserved it.
Mhm.
They run a pretty straight laced program.
Good.
The rules are modified, really replicating to the old USA football rules, which is good, but they are a modified version, and for good reason. Just like the Little League baseball game is.
Gotcha.
Essentially.
And what do you think the entry fee would be for the 3rd and 4th grade?
So based on what I discussed with Sammy, what he charges, what it would cost yearly to get the helmets recertified, the cost for the jersey and shoulder pad rental, it'd probably be right around the $200 mark. So 100 of that, it would go straight to Armor County. So we turn it'd be $100 per kid. Talking with the Riddell rep, he said roughly 60 per helmet to get it recertified, shipped, and then back. And then just kind of shooting for, nice looking jersey, probably is going to cost right around $25-$30, call it an even 200, and then we have that taken care of. I'm looking into ways that maybe we can get them jersey and pants, if it's, something like that. Yeah, we have plenty of people wanting to kind of donate, sponsor. If we can, figure out a way to get that cost repeatedly covered, whether it's the jersey or something like that, then cool. We will look into that, but that's probably what it'd be looking like without. As far as the registration, if we get enough for 2 teams per division, that's easy. If we do that, we get 45 5th and 6th graders, I wouldn't expect one coach to take on 45 kids. We get 2 coaches, 2 teams, split them up, you get 22, 23 each. And I think that'd be, pretty simple for that.
Hey, TJ, on that registration, I mean, obviously you want to have good numbers, but say you get an odd number, you get like 30 kids. Not enough 2 teams, a little too much for 1 team. What's your number said? Cut off at 20 per team?
So that's what I was actually about to get into.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I agree. 30 is not enough for two, but it's a heck of a lot for one.
Mhm.
You know, I could cap the number and it's the first 20 kids to sign up. And then anybody after 20 has to wait for another 20 to sign up. There's one where it's first come, first serve. The second one would be potentially doing a tryout system, where if you get 30 kids and whatever coach is selected, you do a tryout, whatever 19, 20 that he takes. That's tough because maybe you're introducing,
Yeah.
not making the team a little early. But I think it's an option at least to maybe consider. That's kind of where my dilemma would be, is how would we want to do it? Because again, if you want them to learn, you want them to do it. You also want them to be a little bit competitive. So if kid misses out, that he's a pretty good kid, they're gonna push for it somehow, but he may be fifth on the wait list and you can't jump the line in that sort of situation. So that's why I said there's a dilemma that I was kind of curious what you guys would maybe think would be the better way to handle it.
Well, I'll give you my 2 cents worth. I definitely do not want to do the tryouts. I think that's too young to cut kids. I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even
If
cut
you
it
don't
to junior
sign up
high.
early enough, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your parent, but cutting kids at third and fourth grade does not sound. It's not something I would want to be a part of.
Well, we don't even cut it to junior
Yeah.
high, like our football
Yeah.
kids, so.
And I understand we don't want 30 per team, so I think that, 2022 would be a cutoff, and like you said, you can be on a wait list, but if we don't get 20 to 22 more, then.
And that's a problem that I really, in all honesty, I really don't know that you'll run into it. But it's something that I would have liked to be prepared for. Because I could also see a coach saying, "Hey, I got 25 kids signed up. You could take the first 20." That coach might say, "Hey, you know what? Let's just take all 25. I'll figure it out from there." That sort of situation. I don't know that the numbers are going to be big enough. That will.
And the other concern when you start getting over 22, 23 is some kids aren't getting plugged.
Mhm.
And once you get into that, you pay $200.
Yeah.
Our kid better plug.
Yeah.
He better be on the dang field.
Absolutely.
Absolutely agree. And that again, like I said, I don't know that we'll run into that,
Yeah,
but
well, hopefully the numbers work, but we
Yes.
do have to, you're very smart in planning for it, because if it doesn't work, you're gonna have to figure it out.
And even at 20, you might have 2 or 3 kids that are that good to play both ways. That's gonna play a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
$200, that's a lot of money to have your kid out there.
But then we still have the flag football option,
Yeah.
which a lot of kids and their
And
parents
that's
are
the
gonna
other
be,
side.
because I mean, there's places around the country where they don't even start
Right.
contact until junior high.
Like Artesia don't
I
start.
mean, right down the road, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot anymore that
Right.
aren't. I mean, we're talking concussions, young brains, everything else. There's a lot that's gone into this around the country. And that's why we've seen such a huge increase in the flag football over tackle football for the younger.
Well, I have a couple questions on a different subject, so everybody pitch in on that first.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I'm concerned about liability. First of all, you just mentioned the one I'm concerned about most, third and fourth graders banging heads. Most communities have stopped doing it. I don't know, I'm not comfortable with us being back in it, but I want to make sure we're at least covered liability wise, at least the right things are being signed by parents that we're not responsible. And the other side of the liability is we're gonna have all these people going up and down the road every Saturday to Farwell. We need to make sure liability wise, the city is not gonna be in a bind on liability for
And
that.
that's another thing about the way TJ's looking at it is we, the city of Portales, are not running this league. We're facilitating their entry into this other league. We're just a middleman.
Yeah, but you put the registration through our sports league and somebody gets hurt, we'll be on the lawsuit.
There will be,
That's,
and
I
that,
guarantee it.
that is something that I did discuss with Sammy. He does have a process to that. And that's something, again, I'm very much preaching.
Yeah, we just wanna make
Safety.
sure we're covered on them.
Yes, I'll go through every avenue that I need to.
And TJ, is it correct still that Rydell holds insurance on the helmets?
I believe so.
Once they
I can get that.
recertify
I
them,
believe so, yes.
there's a threshold that they have for liability as well.
The other way.
And that's why you get them recertified so that you're covered under that, if it's still the same. Chris, go ahead. I like having the option of both, because maybe some parents at third and fourth grade or even fifth and sixth grade don't want to start tackle, but I feel like some do. So you're just, and people can choose, you're not forcing one or the other, so I like having the option of both, personally.
That's the reason I'm okay with the tackle, because at least if you're not interested, you don't have to, you can still play.
In that 45 number, I feel, you know, I feel like that would come down quite a bit because I don't know that there was
Right.
the flag option at that, so it might just be this is all we have. But some kids, you know, just may say, hey, I'd rather play flag if it's available. So
But it was 2 years ago when we only had 3 teams
Right.
and it was not very deep. So
Well, and there's gonna be people that, I mean, and I'm glad we're still having flag for sure, because there's parents who can't afford $200 and parents who can't
Yeah.
afford to drive to Farwell every Saturday. So at least they can stay local, still participate in football, so.
they can still get
I
the
think you guys are
exercise.
doing a great job getting it ready. I just wanted to make sure we were taking care of some of those.
the tackle football process is, like I said, you know, season doesn't start till September, but I'm already
Staying on it.
deep in it because you know we're gonna start registration much earlier. You know, where everything else will start in July, we'll probably start tackle football registration in June. Just in the event we need a couple extra helmets because you know what we have doesn't fit certain kids. That we make sure we get all the proper equipment. You know, first go around when Jody and I were doing this, we had a process to tackle. You know, we followed USA Football to where it's not just get out there and start going. You know, your first 2 practices are helmets only. The next 2 practices you can go full pads, but there's no contact. You know, to where they get used to the padding and the flow of the game. And then that 5th practice is where, all right, you know, teach them the proper way to do it and opportunities that it's being done correctly. You know, that's my biggest thing. These teams could go out to Farwell and go 0-7, but if they're all safe, they're all learning, and they're all figuring some stuff out, I'll take that as a win.
Yes, sir.
And all the coaches too had to go through the USA certification, they had to take the concussion courses. I mean, it was a process, it
Which-
wasn't just like.
Which
you
will
wanna
all
come
be
to-
required as well for the coach that I select. You know, and then he'll get a list of coaches that are interested in assisting, and you know, I think they said 5 coaches, right? You get 5 on the sideline. They'll all be required to go through USA Football, the concussion protocol, to make sure not only out there, but if something were to go wrong on a Tuesday night at practice, they know how to handle the situation properly.
And just, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, if it does take off, as you plan, I would strongly recommend seeing if you can make some connections with local businesses for sponsorship to $200 for the life. $200 for Talis is a whole lot, so
Yeah.
the more we can lessen that if we can.
Yes.
Be
And I know there's opportunities, you know, Chief Williams has said some people, you know, we want to donate this, we want to donate that, and that's great. I just want to avoid tackle football being $75 one year because we got a donation, and then the next year we don't have a donation. Now we got to kick it back up.
Yeah.
And just for, you know, all the experience we have with tackle football, it's expensive. I mean, parents have to understand your kid, a new helmet was $125, pads were $175, cleats were $50. It's an expensive sport. Yeah. And so-
It averaged us about $500 per kid last year. And that was because it was their first year. This was basically a bunch of travel flag football kids. And
Yeah.
We added some other Clovis kids. We all had to buy new helmets or used helmets. There's some sites you can get used helmets and used shoulder pads. But on top of an entry fee, which was $125, I believe, last year. And then a uniform, we had custom uniforms made for ourselves. We didn't know, it was our first year. We didn't
Right.
realize the uniform was something that they would provide. But it ran our whole team about between $400 and $500. each kid.
And we have helmets though, right, TJ? Like we have some helmets and stuff.
Yes, we have plenty of helmets. You know, they do rentals, so give them for the year. They're
Right.
done. They bring them back. I
Right.
send them off to get recertified. They get cleaned. You know, the whole nine, and we have them ready for the next.
And shoulder pads too. We
Shoulder
have
pad,
all
we
the
have that
equipment
all.
stuff.
They'd have to get the pads, the pants and the pads, the leg pants and pads on their own. Those aren't, you know, terribly expensive, but the bulk of it, yes, we will have the helmets, the jersey, and the shoulder pads taken care of.
So sorry, with that comment saying, this is actually a cheaper option than definitely
Which
the
one?
route that we
Yes,
went last year. So you're providing, even though, yeah, it sounds like a lot, you're actually providing it much cheaper than a lot of other communities
Yeah,
are
travel team with people.
are gonna get it.
right.
Yeah, so.
And I do highly recommend the USA certification program. It's the Heads Up, which the high school was involved with a lot of that. You got to go to the state.
The state is, yeah.
But it goes through heat and hydration, acclimation, practice acclimation. It's got for coaches, that have never coached before or need a refresher. The game's not the same game that we used to play.
Mhm.
And the concussion protocols that are in place, like I said, I still get certified each year. And I never thought I'd need it until my first practice last year. We had 3 kids go down and we just, knowing what to do in that time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, I can benefit to that, or it benefited from that. But it's an ideal safeguard to have in place.
Do you know how much it costs to do that program?
I think it cost me like $25 to get certified each year. And it is a process. If you've never been certified, it is a process the first year. Each year after that, if you continue to get certified, it's just a refresher each year and it's not so bad. But it took me a full week, about 3 or 4 hours a night to get through the first. I let mine run out once my older boys,
Mhm.
and then I went back to redo it and I was like, oh goodness. But yeah, it's a process.
So what do you want from the committee, TJ? Do you want a vote on or a recommendation to?
Well, you answer my question on how to do the too many for one team, too less for the other. You know, again, that way, if you guys have that suggestion, I'd rather run with that because. Do I think it'll come up? I really do not, but I want to be prepared for it.
I meant more so just on the tackle football going and outsourcing to, do you want us to do a recommendation or?
Recommendation, yes.
Okay,
Yes, I'll be honest, we don't want TJ to be the one who's left out there being saying this was my sole and only idea. And if there's more that you all think that we should try to do with this, research wise, planning wise, anything else, I mean, we'll get working on it, but I mean, if the recommendation from the board would be to continue with the flag football as we have the last year, and then look to do this partnership, then we would take that, so.
I'll make that recommendation.
Yeah.
Continue with the flag, business as usual, same divisions with the addition of trying to create the partnership with the Palmer County Football League for 3rd and 4th grade team or teams and 5th and 6th grade team or teams. I have one more question though. When did y'all season start, Luke?
We started in August.
When would you open up registration?
No, we started in September.
He says
June.
I started
September,
August
right?
1st. No, yeah, it was August.
Yeah.
June, I would open it up in June.
Okay.
So the idea would be open it up for maybe a 4 or 5 week registration. And then nothing would probably start until August, but then I would utilize the 2-3 weeks in July, that gap of doing any sort of coach meeting. If we get enough for 2 teams to do an evaluation, because at that point I will let coaches take a look at all of them, kind of select their team together, draft their teams against each other. If for some reason we get, a couple smaller kids, couple bigger kids that we don't have a helmet that fits them, to make sure that I have enough time that, they get a helmet before first day of practice and they're not delayed in any way, shape or form. So, again, a lengthy registration and a lengthy gap between that and then the first day of practice, but that way they get at least 4 weeks of practice before that first game. And I have everything that I need to wear day one. I can feel comfortable about where it's gonna start.
And then I'll just throw out again, that the registration site that TJ found for us to use allows them to make payments through the system. So if you can't come up with the full 200 right now, and there's 4 weeks, well, you can do 100 now, 100 in a month, and get it paid out, or you can set it up to do. I think you can do weekly payments.
You can do it, however, the max is a 3 payment plan. So it would charge like a deposit, or you'd have to put something down, get the registration across, and then you set dates when the second and third payment are expected to finish it out. So that is something that I have done in fall, done in winter. You know, some parents have utilized it. It's been great. So, you know, I wouldn't change anything, especially for that.
I like that.
It's a good option.
That's where we were, I'll
Yeah.
second that motion.
Second by Mr. Rackler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, move forward.
Now, if we get 90 signups from the 5th and 6th grade, we gotta have a whole other conversation. Let's go ahead and
You're gonna
plan
start your
for,
own league down here.
let's plan for the alternative right now.
I would say very confidently, you're probably not gonna get 90, just being that
Very confidently, probably.
you're probably not gonna get 90.
Chris, do you remember what we had years ago? I know it was 3 teams, and I was a coach too, but I think I had maybe like 15 kids on my team.
That's what I
So
think.
Finished
45.
the season with like 11. I didn't have a sub in my last game,
Yeah, it was 14, 15 kids a team, I think.
so 45 or less for that age group.
Yeah, and then that's just not fair. I mean,
Comes to safety issue.
you got kids that are out there too much, unable to take the required breaks.
Well, I didn't even have 5 offensive linemen.
Right.
I had a skinny kid playing lineman. That's what the hell I had.
Right.
All right, is there any other discussion? TJ, you got any other items? Okay, wanna move on to the next meeting?
What fits for the next time that would be
Yeah.
good for an update?
So if we stick with the 3 months, we would have wrapped up spring soccer. We would have wrapped up, we'd be in the middle of spring flag football. And in the middle of summer basketball registration.
What about, would you want to do July? That way, maybe you have an idea of numbers and registration would be open, or do you wanna go ahead and just do
So
two?
that works. Summer basketball would be starting in July. So I would have numbers prepared and ready, yes.
You're on the board.
Like-
You're the board, you tell us what you want.
July works.
If you wanna do July, it would be July 9th.
Oh, that's
Okay,
I'm good.
I like that.
July 9th.
TJ, what were the dates again for the like the spring football and the soccer?
Spring flag football would be, I think we targeted, or I had
Registration April.
the first week of games would be like the week before Memorial Day weekend.
The week before?
Yes, that'd be first string of games, and then it would wrap up like July 18th or
Okay.
June 18th, excuse me.
Okay.
It really would be like a 4-week season, six weeks with 2 weeks of practice at the beginning.
Okay.
And that's all I really want. Basketball would be the same. I'm thinking, and I'll work this out with you guys. I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 weeks of practice beforehand, and then 2, 3 or 4 weeks of games, but not really much practice in between games.
Okay.
Once the basketball starts.
Were you using the junior high? Was that the plan? I can't remember.
That was all gonna kind of depend on numbers.
Okay.
Jody and I had chatted about it. If I get 11 kids signed up in 5th and 6th grade, well, you know, I won't run a season for them. But if I get 48 in 1st and 2nd grade, okay, we'll make something happen for them.
Okay.
But we won't force anything if the numbers aren't there, because I don't know what it'll look like. This is something that's going to be totally brand new. people like to go on vacation in the summers, you know, the lake on the weekends, stuff like that, so they might not be interested. But as far as which gyms and the structure, I'll know more once I get numbers
Registration.
in place, yes.
Okay.
How is that gonna coincide at all with Gus Macker? I can't remember the time for Gus Macker.
I was told that I am not allowed to schedule anything the weekend of Gus Macker.
That's what
Oh,
okay.
Gonna be a little bit busy that week.
And really, I don't plan to run games on the weekends for those two sports.
Monday
It'd
through.
be weekday stuff.
And actually, speaking of that, basketball you said is gonna run first for
No.
spring flag football.
Spring flag football.
And then basketball's gonna run in July. Okay. They will still promote it, but that meant good. They can play Gus Macker and then move into summer basketball.
And
So
with the window where Gus Macker is, that'd be the beginning practice window for those teams. So there's no game, there's not even games during the week at that point. You know, the games won't start till after the fourth. So
I'm just curious, do you know when Little League ends for the most part?
middle of May
Okay.
for most divisions.
And then All Stars or
Late
whatever?
May is all star, so that's the only conflict because I did reach out to one of the board members saying I'm not trying to step on your guys' toes. I want to work together. So
Well, and I hate it because Little League's you don't even play baseball in the summer anymore.
Mhm.
You have 12 kids that make All Stars and that's it. The rest of the league doesn't even play in the summer. So,
so that'd be the only conflict is kids that do make all stars.
and honestly, probably those are your kids that are going to play both anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you may just have to work around that a little bit with some scheduling or something. Because a lot of those kids will probably do both. So,
So July 9th at 5:30. I think that's good.
should be good. That's a long ways away for me.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, if there's no other discussion, are we adjourned? No other discussion? All right, we'll adjourn.